our next guest, I feel like there should be like some big movie theme song going on. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Jack Schumacher. How are you?
I am doing great, Donna. Thank you so much for having me.
Where are you calling in from today?
I am in Los Angeles, California, home.
Now,
Originally
did
from
you grow?
Chicago, though.
That's what I was going to ask you. I thought you were from the Midwest because I am as well. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri.
Right on, right on. Yeah, I moved out to LA about 5 years ago. Feels like home now. Definitely a hard city to transition to, but yeah, I mean, Chicago will always have a special place in my heart. But LA is where it's at now.
It is absolutely. Did you already have a small amount of success, Jack, before you made the transition from Chicago to Los Angeles as an actor?
I had gotten a couple guest stars on Chicago PD and Empire. And I have a really great manager, and he was kind of walking me through it because I was itching to move out to LA. Like right when he picked me up, I was like, "I'm going to LA, man." He's like, "Hey, pump the brakes. Why don't you get a couple jobs in Chicago first? Then we can come out, and that'll get some momentum going." So once I did Chicago PD, he was like, "All right, pack your bags. I think it's a good time to head out." And yeah, then just made the move. So.
Now, how did you get your team behind you? An agent, a manager, because I feel for actors sometimes they just don't know how to make that happen for themselves or if they even need someone. So how does one go about that?
Yeah, so I have people ask me about this, a good amount, and it is an exhausting, scary process to deal with. And I have a lot of friends who've like struggled with finding the right team, and I've been very, very lucky. Um, but I mean, first thing if you got nothing is just look up like agencies in your city, go to open calls, start doing whatever they tell you to do in terms of like I got picked up to model, and I was like, "Hey, I want to be an actor." And they're like, "Do you have any experience?" I was like, "No." And they're like, "Well, then you can't act for us." And I was like, "All right, well, all right, I'll take some classes and I'll do this and that." And I kept bugging them to let me go for auditions. And then I started getting some callbacks for them. So they're like, "Oh, all right, yeah, you can we'll represent you for that." Um and and then I through an audition I had done, my manager's wife, who's a casting director, had shown my tape to him, and he reached out, and we had a meeting, and he has been, without a doubt, the most important person like on my team, and he's set me up with my new agents and whatnot. And I've only had two agents. I've been with my one for almost 5 years now, so I've been very, very lucky to have pretty smooth sailing in that area because it can be very, very frustrating and tricky.
Well, I'm going to do a little segue from that between smooth sailing and smooth flying. Tell us
Mhm.
about your role on this big, major movie that's in every theater.
Yeah, yeah. So I play Omaha. I'm one of the pilots in Top Gun Maverick. Um, Really, just kind of a dream experience. It's hard to put into words. And we shot it so long ago, and because of COVID and everything, it was put on the shelf because it had to be seen in theaters. And I think that's been well received. Um, but yeah, it was a dream come true to get to step on that level of a stage and be surrounded by a cast and crew who are all operating at the top of the game, and to see how that's done. And I mean, just to be a fly on the wall for a lot of the experience was, I mean, it's the most educational process you could, imagine, for being in this industry. And yeah, I still, it still doesn't feel real, when I look back on it.
Now, are your parents still living, Jack?
Yes, yes, they
Okay.
are. Yeah.
So they're probably about the age, close to my age, maybe a little older than I am. I don't know, younger. But the point is that the second that I pulled into the movie theater parking lot, I looked in my car next to me, and there's this man named Joe Caccioni, who I've known for his whole entire life. And tears started kind of welling up in my eyes because I realized that his aunt is my best friend, and of course, his mom. And I went to the movie theater to see the original with my friend Kathy. So I'm looking at Joseph and I'm like, oh, I'm having this surreal moment. It's
Yeah.
emotional. And when I sat down in the movie theater and Tom comes on and he thanks the audience, thanks us for showing up. And I'm like, oh my gosh, no, thank you for creating something that's so beautiful that takes us on a journey. It was done so well and with so much taste and so much authenticity. It's a true piece of great work. It's not just like a sequel or do you know what I'm saying, Jack?
Yeah.
Does
Yeah.
that make sense to you? Like it's art.
Absolutely. No,
It's art at its greatest piece.
yeah. And I think even more than that too, it's something that hasn't been seen a lot in this era of reboots and sequels, which is it's not just a sequel or, rehashing something old and tired. It's a celebration of what I think cinema used to be, and I remember that era a little bit when I was a kid when you'd go to the movies and you're like, "Oh my god," and there was this big anticipation, and there still is. There's still incredible movies that come out all the time, but the sort of old school version of what a blockbuster used to be, whether it's because of all the streaming platforms or, anything like that, it might be diluted a little bit now, but this seemed to transcend that and, mix in heart and nostalgia and also bringing something new to it. And I think somehow topping a incredible original film, which was a mighty, mighty task to undertake, I mean, a lot of these things that get rebooted do not do well,
No.
and, to see it be received this way has been, such an exciting thing to, experience and get to be a part of, and like you said, hearing, especially from an older generation that the original Top Gun meant so much to. Um, you know, I hear a lot of stories about like the dads crying in the theaters and stuff, and that always gives me a kick. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, it tugs on the heartstrings. It's really really something special.
I was able to spend a little time visiting with Kenny Loggins on my show and talking about the original score to the original movie and how that all came about. There's many different, I guess, tentacles, if you will, or spikes on a wheel where the whole things just seem so connected. It's a great thing. When you were able to see yourself on the big screen, what was that like for you, Jack?
It's it's tough. I mean, I'm one of those actors that has a hard time sort of, you know, watching myself initially. Generally, like, anytime I've been on TV, if I'm watching it at home, I'm tucked behind a couch, and I'm looking, like, through my fingers, and then once I see that it's, like, sort of okay, I'm like, "Alright, hold on, let's rewind it, let's see."
Right?
Um, so this one, I was kind of forced to just watch it. But yeah, I mean, it was spectacular, and I brought my mom to the premiere, and she, before I ever even walked onto the screen, um, the opening credits started, and she starts weeping, and I'm like, "Good God, mom, please." Like, and she's like, "I'm just so proud that, like, you got to be a part of this." And I'm like, "Okay, okay." Like, everyone can hear you crying. Like, it hasn't even started. Um, but yeah, I mean, it was really special, and I think it was more special because I got to sort of experience it, through my mom's eyes and feel her joy as well.
Yeah, you were only feigning embarrassment, I know that, my mom used to always say,
Yeah.
"That's my baby," and I know now
Oh,
as a mother myself of children, I'm so deeply proud of them, and as I had said actually off camera, congratulations, because Jack, this is a great achievement, and yet there's so much more from you. And I know that you have a couple of projects about that you're, working on that we can't really discuss yet. But I said, just paint me a big, wide paintbrush so we get a little taste of what's coming up for you.
yeah, yeah, I got a fun, thriller movie that will be coming out, in the fall, and, did some work on a really, really cool new, Hulu show that's gonna be a ton of fun, that is also going to be out in the fall, I believe. Um, and then after that, that's the game of being an actor. You're waiting for that next thing to pop up, and so it's just kind of riding the wave and enjoying the experience. And yeah,
Any piece of memorabilia that you were able to keep from the set, like a piece of a costume or anything that you have hanging up on your bedroom wall right now?
I got a bunch of patches that are really, really cool. Little small things here and there that I picked up along the way. Some cool aviator sunglasses that we got as set gifts. Um, and the one thing I didn't get it, but I really wanted my helmet because I was told that they had like three like extra helmets, and so I was like for each pilot, and I was like, and I kept asking one of the guys, I was like, "Are we gonna get one? Like, is it there's no right? Come on, we gotta get one." And I was hoping it would just be there in my trailer on the final day, but it was not.
Okay.
So one day though, maybe I'm sure it'll be sitting in a warehouse somewhere. I can try and get it.
Either that or it'll be sitting in some like movie museum, like, and you'll be able to say,
Yes,
wait, that's a strand of my hair. That's my DNA in that helmet. That one was mine,
exactly.
right? And we'll make that
Yes.
match. So, Jack,
Yeah.
pleasantness to you. Happy journeys. And
Thank you.
thank you for being a guest on my show today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.